Hi, welcome back to the Inspectagators. This is Rory.
And this is Grack.
And today we are discussing the case of the ghost ship called the SS Ourang Medan.
This one's gonna be fun. Alright.
You don't even know what it's about yet.
I've heard enough from when you researched it.
Yeah, I was researching this in the room with her today before we started recording this, and I just kept getting really excited and telling her just random bits about the case. So, yeah.
Lots of true crime and lots of paranormal theories.
We actually aren't going to cover a whole lot of the paranormal ones today.
No aliens?
Well, now you spoiled it.
Dang.
Maybe we can talk about the aliens a little bit.
Alright, a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Are you going to get into this?
Yeah.
Okay. So, in June of 1947, or February of 1948, the counts kind of vary, ships traveling between the islands of Malaysia and Sumatra received an SOS signal in Morse code from a ship. So, the signal read, "All officers, including captain, are dead, lying in chat room and bridge. Possibly whole crew dead." And then there was an incomprehensible series of clicks, and then a final phrase of, "I die."
That is so ominous.
Very much so. This distress call was heard by 2 British and Dutch listening posts and 2 American ships, one of which was called the Silver Star. So the listening posts used the signal from the code to triangulate the position of the ship, and it turned out to be a Dutch freighter by the name of the SS Ourang Medan. When they were looking at which of the 2 ships was closest, the Silver Star was, so they set a course for the ship. After a couple of hours, they finally got there, and when they got there, they realized that there was absolutely no activity going on this ship.
Oh my gosh. So freaking creepy.
Exactly. Usually, because, ships have big crews and they're constantly doing something. Yeah. So the Silver Star tried signaling the Medan, but nothing happened. The captain then decided that he was going to start assembling a crew to board the ship. The crew that boarded the ship realized that whoever had sent the distress call had not been exaggerating at all. The entire crew of the Medan was dead. All of their eyes were open and their faces were screwed up in agony. Their arms were held up like they were defending themselves from something, and even the dog was dead.
Oh my gosh.
And multiple sources say all of these things, and they say that the dog's face was pulled up like it was snarling at something. The captain's remains were found on the bridge, and all of the bodies of his officers were found throughout the wheelhouse and the chat room. The communications officer who had sent the distress signal was found at the telegraph with his finger still on the button.
This is like a horror movie.
That's what this was described as, yeah.
They must have had quick deaths if they still had the looks of agony and his finger was still on the button.
Exactly. Gosh. Or a very long drawn out death where they couldn't move.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the rest of the crew was found below deck in the boiler room. The temperature that day was actually about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, but the American crew said that they felt a chill on the ship. Now, I don't know if that was just a chill from seeing so many dead people, or if it was legitimately cold.
You're telling me this is true crime and not paranormal?
Yeah, this is why when I was researching this and they kept telling the story of the ghost ship, I was like, well, that doesn't make sense if this is, where are the ghosts? I'm confused. But now
where
I
are the ghosts? Where are they going?
I don't know. The ghosts are gone. So the crew that was on the ship couldn't find any sign of foul play on the boat or anything that would have caused the whole crew to die. The crew that was on there wasn't actually like, oh, I don't feel so good, everybody. Mm-hmm. They're just like, I'm chilling. There's a lot of dead people, but I'm alright.
They just straight up died.
They just got on there and just died.
They're like, see you guys later. Peace.
The captain of the Silver Star decided to tow the Medan to the nearest port, but right after they got the tow line in place, this really thick black smoke started pouring out of the hull near the number 4 hold. So the crew of the Silver Star barely managed to get off this boat and cut the tow line before the ship exploded with so much force that it was reported that the ship came up out of the water before it came crashing down and sank to its watery grave.
Was it just the engine, or was there explosives on the ship?
That's what we're gonna get into.
Oh, fun. Okay.
It was a direct quote, by the way, that it said that the ship came up out of the water.
Ghost ship.
Yes, ghost ship. It just levitates.
It's see y'all later, gotta zoom.
So, there was actually no official report written about the Medan until 1952.
How do you not write an official report? That's pretty interesting, I'd say.
Exactly. So there was no official report written until the U.S. Coast Guard released something called the Proceedings of the Merchant Marine Council, and this was where it was first mentioned. But there aren't any other records. So an author by the name of Roy Bainton seemed to be obsessed with this case. He checked the shipping records in Amsterdam, the United Kingdom Admiralty, the Registrar of Shipping and Seamen, the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich, and the Maritime Authority in Singapore, but nothing showed up.
That is interesting. He really wanted to know, huh?
He really wanted to know.
Yeah, he went in depth. That is a lot of things to check.
Yeah. He ended up being contacted by a man named Professor Theodor Serserdorf of Essen, Germany, who had apparently been working on this case for over 50 years.
Oh.
And was the one to drop the names of the 2 American ships that heard the Medan signal.
Wow.
Yeah. So the professor also led Baton to a 32-page German booklet written in 1954 by a man named Otto Mielke, entitled Das Todesschiffen der Süder, and I'm sorry if my German was very wrong, but it translates to Death Ship in the South Sea.
That's a fun word. Booklet.
Booklet.
Yeah.
Another word they said was pamphlet.
Pamphlet?
I was imagining like a Trivago pamphlet type thing.
Hotel Trivago.
This is not sponsored by Hotel Trivago.
No. I've never even been to a Hotel Trivago.
I haven't either. Isn't it just a website?
Is it really?
I have no idea. I think so.
Do they have hotels?
I think they sell
hotels?
Or like hotel rooms.
Oh, wow.
It's my best guess. I don't know. So there were so many detailed accounts in this pamphlet that people started to think that the author might have talked with one of the crewmen of the Silver Star.
That's what I was wondering. I'm like, he seems so, like, kind of obsessed with it. I was like, I wonder if he had any connections to this case at all. Like, had talked to people, had, like, gone in depth and stuff like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so the first author, the professor, he is obviously very obsessed with this case, and he's the one that dropped the 2 names, but the person who wrote this pamphlet is a different person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so in this pamphlet, it talked about, like, the things that went on in the ship, very exact details that you would have to be there or talk to someone who was there to know. So people thought that he might have talked to one of the crewmen from the Silver Star who was, who went onto the boat. The thing is, people were saying that the crewmen of the Silver Star were really hard to find. And none of them ever really seemed to want to talk.
They said bye and left.
Yeah.
Ugh. They might have, like, I don't know, that seems pretty traumatizing, having, like, people dying.
It does seem pretty traumatizing.
I could see, yeah, okay, fair enough. Continue, sorry.
You're good. Here are some of the theories that I've come across. There are probably hundreds of them because no one actually knows what happens, but these are, like, the main 4 that I found.
Okay.
So the first one is that the SS Ourang Medan was transporting potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin.
Chemicals!
Oh,
chemicals are so fun.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
So the thing is that people thought that they were transporting these highly illegal and very lethal containers of potassium cyanide and nitroglycerin. So potassium cyanide releases hydrogen cyanide gas, which is a highly toxic chemical asphyxiant that interferes with the body's ability to use oxygen. So this is lethal because your body can't send oxygen to the rest of your body and you start to suffocate.
Rip.
So potassium cyanide is also water reactive.
Seems like a good idea to put it on a boat.
Doesn't it?
Let's just put this highly reactive chemical on a boat and let's see what happens. Sparky, sparky, boom, boom.
So it also decomposes on contact with water, humidity, carbon dioxide, and acids.
Okay, if they were really transporting that, did they think? They were like, this is like the perfect condition for this to blow up and we all die. Let's do it.
Yeah, they literally went, all of these things that we naturally produce and can be found in the ocean, we're going to stick it here.
Here we go.
So all of these things, or when it interacts with all of these things, it produces a very toxic and highly flammable hydrogen cyanide gas. Fluorates plus potassium cyanide explode when heated. So a mixture of potassium cyanide and nitrates can also cause an explosion. What else was on that? Nitroglycerin, which is made up of nitrates.
Okay, if this theory is true, or in any way, like, that is the worst thought out plan I have ever heard.
Yeah.
Kudos to them, like, bold move, guys.
So, fun fact, all of these facts came from the CDC. Like, straight from the CDC website.
I trust the CDC.
Exactly. So
I would let the CDC babysit my future kids.
Oh yeah, for sure. You can go play with the bacteria.
They can go run around with the scientists. Let them have some fun. Little sparky boom, never hurt anyone.
Let's move on to nitroglycerin. So nitroglycerin is actually often used in heart medications, but it is also a highly unstable molecule, and jostling it even a little, can result in a violent explosion, which would obviously be very unsuitable for the rocking of a ship on the ocean.
I have no words for this, like, the thought processes that went through, like, these people's minds when they thought, if this theory is correct, might I say, let's put a highly flammable thing that, like, we wouldn't even moved will explode with this thing when, if heat and pressure and all that stuff and, like, water and all that touch it, it's gonna kill us all. Let's do it!
Like, not even are they both bad on their own, together they're even worse.
Dynamic duo.
Yeah. But here's my question for you. So if the nitroglycerin was on the ship with the potassium cyanide, how did it manage to last so long without exploding? Because they weren't just, really close to the port. Like, they were in the middle of, like, it's called a strait between the two islands. So how did they get there without the whole thing blowing up?
They moved very carefully. They rocked the nitroglycerin against the way the boat was rocking. They were
had
very careful.
6 people down there, very gently rocking it with the boat. You had someone calling down, "We're moving 45 degrees to the right.
Make sure Jack doesn't mess it up this time.
We're all gonna die.
Dang it, Jack!"
So the second theory is that they were transporting nerve gas. Now, nerve gas, just a little bit of a background on it, is a lethal gas that disrupts the signal between the nerves and causes a very quick death, usually due to suffocation, because it interrupts
the nerve signals, yeah.
So if you have a nerve here and a nerve here, and they're trying to talk to each other, it said no. So it usually happens due to suffocation because your brain stops getting the signal to move your chest.
Yeah, and then you just stop breathing, and then you don't get any oxygen, and you're on the ground dead.
Exactly.
Which is how they found them, so.
Exactly. And the other thing is, so nerve gas is, when released as a gas, is invisible and it has no scent.
Ah.
So people usually start to notice that they've come into contact with it when they start, like, salivating a lot. Something about the gland that it hits makes you produce a bunch of spit.
Ooh.
It's gross.
You're just like, whoa,
yeah,
guys,
people are just
gas.
drooling everywhere. And
did they see any drool on the ship? Like, was there any, like, excess? I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't have noticed that, but
probably not. But it also, people start to feel really dizzy and really lightheaded and like they can't breathe. And if you stay there for long enough, you will die within 30 minutes.
Wow.
The other thing is that nerve gas will sink into your clothes. So they always tell people that you need to first of all get away from the area and then strip. And you cannot pull the clothes over your head. If they won't come off, you have to cut them off.
That's intense.
Because the molecules get stuck in there and they just keep being re-exposed to it. They think that this nerve gas was created by a group called Unit 731. So in World War II, there was a group of Japanese scientists led by the name of Shiro Ishii, and the sole purpose of this group was to create the most dangerous chemical and biological weapons known to man.
This is getting real intense.
Yeah. So the group basically committed these horrible atrocities because most of their test subjects were, first of all, people.
Yeah. And
they were prisoners. Most of them were prisoners of war or people just captured. A lot of them were Chinese.
Oh, yikes. Okay.
Most of their things were basically like, let's see what happens if we test this on the human body. There were horrible experiments done with frostbite, with measles, with AIDS. They would literally have some of the soldiers rape women so that they could see the effects of disease on pregnant women.
Oh my gosh.
And then it just keeps getting worse. So this was obviously not a good group.
No, they are not.
People think that the Medan might have been smuggling the nerve gas out for the group. So the group had been disbanded at the time. They were actually disbanded like almost right after World War II ended.
Air quotes, disbanded.
That's fair. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So you think they could have been like flying under the radar?
Yeah, honestly, if they're doing all this like really shady stuff, if they had, air quotes again, disbanded, it would like, make sense if they were still kind of continuing operations under the little radar.
I could see that. So this would explain the very quick death of the crew because they wouldn't have been able to tell if anything was wrong.
But why did they have looks of agony on their face then?
I mean, they were suffocating to death. It's gonna hurt. But so here's my whole thing with this case, is that, like you're saying, they all had these, like, intense looks of agony. It said all of their eyes were open, and it looked like they had been fighting something off.
Yeah. When
a person dies, obviously, all of their muscles kind of relax, and then rigor mortis sets in as the body sits longer and longer. So it doesn't really make sense. that everything would get stuck like that.
Yeah.
Because the amount of time that it, like, rigor mortis obviously starts setting in immediately after a person dies.
Yeah.
But it takes a certain amount of time before the seizing becomes so much that it would actually be able to hold.
How long would that take? Do you know? Let's Google it, because didn't it say it took the boat a couple hours to get to the people? Would that be enough time for the rigor mortis to set in, maybe?
Maybe. So the muscle stiffening usually starts from the facial muscles and ends with the diaphragm. The entire process lasts for 54 hours. When someone dies, approximately 2 hours after the death, it will set in.
So it's possible.
It's possible, but my thing is how did it become like that?
I don't know. That is really weird.
I don't know. I think that's something that I would probably have to do more research on, just to figure out how the human body would be able to, like, hold that. Like, I know if you die, you can die and your eyes could still be open just because the muscles relax and you use the muscles to close your eyes, obviously. But how would you hold your whole face scrunched up in agony?
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
A little spooky.
Just a little spooky. So this third theory is obviously much more normal. So people are saying that there could have been a boiler fire and carbon monoxide.
I was thinking that with the nerve gas. I was like, that sounds very similar to carbon monoxide, which is also like, you know, you can't taste it, can't smell it, can't see it, and it causes death pretty decently quickly. And I was like, okay, I wasn't going to bring it up. But now that we're getting that it's an actual theory, that's what it sounded like.
Exactly. So the carbon monoxide could have originated from the boiler room and then very slowly started killing the whole crew. So, you know, they would all die from the carbon monoxide and they wouldn't realize they were being poisoned.
Yeah.
And then when the engine or something along those lines started to have problems, it would have caught the gas on fire and sent the whole ship sky high.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, those little details like the stiffness of the bodies, the kind of like, you know, fear and like all that like scrunch upness, to put it into eloquent terms,
I guess,
doesn't make sense, because I don't think you can physically fight carbon monoxide.
They certainly tried.
They certainly tried. Gonna duke it out.
The fourth and final theory, the whole thing is a hoax. Because the Silver Star is a real ship.
Yeah.
There are records all over the place. Its name has been changed a couple times as it's been passed around from ship line to ship line. But it's a real ship and it has a real crew. But there's no paperwork of the Medan. And the thing is, none of the Silver Star crew came forward. They weren't like, oh my god, guys, look at this scary thing that we just found. Like, we just found a whole bunch of dead bodies. They were like, no one said anything. And the first time they heard of the case was 1952, when it got put in the U.S. Coast Guard's pamphlet thing.
Yeah, that is really weird, especially if it's like a whole ship full of dead people.
Exactly. It was a Dutch freighter, but there was no record of it in the Amsterdam records. But the name of it, Ourang Medan, Ourang was part of a Malaysian word, if I remember correctly.
Whack.
Very whack. So people are like, okay, this ship just didn't exist.
They just straight up were like, y'all hallucinating?
I guess so. I guess they're like, man,
it's
y'all must have been...
a very elaborate YouTube prank. Gotcha.
A very elaborate YouTube prank in 1947.
Of course, I would have obviously done the same.
YouTube doesn't exist.
You got hoxed.
But yeah, like, think about it. If you found a ship full of dead people, you might want to tell somebody. You're not just gonna go home and be like, okay, so we all agree we're never talking about this again, right?
I mean...
Is this where the mafia comes in and they're like, if you talk, you get shot?
You talk, you're gone. I'm sorry, bro. It's just, that's the way of the land. That's the way we roll. How do you just go home and be like, your wife's all like, honey, how did work go today? We found a ship full of dead people. Excuse me? You're like, never mind. I'm just gonna go to bed, sleep it off.
I'm gonna sleep it off. It'll be all right. Oh man, that would have been a trip.
So did they recover the dead bodies?
Nope. Everything went up when the ship went up.
Oh yeah, I forgot it exploded.
The whole ship just went poof.
Did they recover any wreckage?
It sank to the bottom of the ocean.
Like nothing was left floating at all?
Nope. Also,
that's a little sketchy.
Think about, they literally said the ship came out of the water with how hard it exploded. I'm
okay,
sure
but it didn't like vaporize.
Incinerated though.
I mean... I don't know. I would have wanted, like, something to prove that happened, because that is so creepy.
Exactly. So, okay, so I promised you aliens.
Yes.
So one of the paranormal theories is that the entire crew got abducted by aliens and got experimented on and then got dropped back in the ship.
They took the dog, too?
I guess.
How rude. And to the, like, not just the dog, the people, like... You're just you're minding your business on your nice little boat in the middle of the ocean, and the aliens have the audacity to show up and be like, bro, we gotta take your heart and stuff. We need to experiment. And you're like, I think not. And it's just like,
at least leave the dog out of it, goodness.
Yeah, like, you could take, like, 2 crew members, but, like, all of them and just leave them there? Like, recycle, reuse. That was like leaving trash on the side of the highway. No, people are not trash, but it's kind of
the aliens treated them like trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, a trip, may I say.
If it was aliens, they definitely did have a trip.
I guess you could say that.
Why don't we bring Bigfoot into this?
What did Bigfoot do?
He's the head leader of the aliens.
Really now?
Of course. You haven't heard that theory?
I have not. That's a new one for me.
It's a new one for me, too. I'm just kidding. Cut that out.
Hear that, everybody? Bigfoot is the leader of the aliens. I'm not cutting that out. That's the best part.
Incorrect.
Correct.
Bigfoot is now going to steal all the ships full of nitroglycerin, and he's going to plant it in the middle of Earth's core, and he's going to blow us all up. It's not going to be a meteor that ends us. It's going to be Bigfoot with his nitroglycerin and his crew full of dead people.
Yep. That's it.
Ding, da, ding, da, ding, ding. Dink.
Okay, so I think that's it for this case. I think it's most definitely going to remain unsolved.
Puns!
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, now it's time for the pun territory. What do you got, Grack?
We're gonna have some ghost puns today.
Ooh, ghost puns.
And they're gonna be very spooky.
This is for our ghost ship?
Yes. This is for you, Bigfoot, my big homie.
Okay, give us the puns.
Alright. First pun. What did the ghost who crashed the Halloween party say? I'm here for the... I'm here for the booze.
An alcoholic ghost, how rude.
I'm not picky. What did the egotistical ghost say? If you've got it, haunt it.
We love a good self-confident ghost.
And the last pun. What is a ghost's favorite carnival ride? The roller coaster.
Yes.
All right. Hasta la pasta, bros. Keep it real. Adios.
This is Rory signing off.
This is Grock signing off.
Bye.